McGeorge. And so today we have the pleasure of having one of our current MSL students, Savanna Sanders, to be our guest speaker. So thank you so much, Savanna, for being here.
Thank you for having me. I am really looking forward to chatting about my experience.
Thank you. So we're going to keep this somewhat informal in the sense that we'll have a conversation. I'll ask Savanna some questions. I encourage all of you to also post your questions as they come up, because we very much want to engage with all of you. I'm going to open the Q&A. You should have a Q&A function or a chat function. I'm going to open both of them on my screen. So go ahead and ask your questions. And if time permits, I'll do a quick overview of the MSL programs, the online MSL programs at McGeorge. But so let's get started. So Savanna, can you tell us why did you choose McGeorge's MSL program?
Sure. I chose the program because I wanted to specifically focus on water law and water resources. I was interested in law, but I didn't need the JD. I wanted to remain in the working world, and this program is catered to working professionals to manage work, life, and school. So that was a perfect fit for my goals. Also, being a Sacramento local, I wanted a school that was in my town. To build my professional network within the community was extremely important to me.
Thank you. So you talk about wanting to remain active professionally. So what is your current role?
Yes, I recently started working for a company called Zanjero. We are a water resources consulting firm here in Sacramento. We are a small firm that works on complex water related issues for governmental and private clients. My employers and mentors have 30 plus years of experience as lawyers, engineers, and planners. So it is a great blending together of legal, financial, technical, and engineering projects. We are mostly based in California. However, we have some projects in different states. It's been very exciting work with a lot of variety. And for me, just starting out, it is a huge learning curve. However, I'm really thrilled to navigate that and understand deeper. Also, my schooling directly aligns with my day-to-day work. So it's almost funny because what I end up reading or listening to in my lectures is typically what my projects end up needing. So it's I'm really learning and applying my knowledge in real time. I'd also love to briefly talk about my previous job. I just started Zanjero 3 months ago, but my first year and a half of the MSL program, I worked for a company called Critelligent. We're also environmental consulting, but it's just a little different industry. We worked in environmental hazardous assessment. It was a great company. It allowed me to work full time as well as take the 2 classes a semester in the MSL program. That job was a bit easier for me to manage in a sense. It was a fully remote job, which gave me a good work life and school balance. However, I was drawn to apply to Zanjero because the job description was exactly what I was interested in. It was the career step that I was looking for with the master's degree. And with that being said, my new job wanted me to only take 1 class a semester because the work is a lot more mentally challenging and time consuming. And also I go to the office almost every day. I did get 2 days to work remote, which has been really helpful. But ultimately, I'm really glad that they suggested to take 1 class instead of 2. And I'm also really grateful that the MSL program has that flexibility to change with you as time goes on in the program.
Thank you. So as Savanna just mentioned, I'm assuming that all of you have gone through our website, you've looked at it. But so our program are online asynchronous. So it gives you the flexibility to do the work at a time that is convenient for you. Yet I won't lie, there's still weekly deadlines. Our deadlines are for the big project are often on a Sunday evening, giving everybody's time, to do the work. You get the assignment and the syllabus far ahead in advance, so you can plan and you can work with your professor if you were to have a work project that would be directly in conflict with your homework. But for the most part, the courses and the program, the course of study. So it's usually 2 classes a semester, although for some it may just be 1 course a semester. It's really meant for working professionals to be able to continue to engage like professionally. You can do this right out of undergrad if you wanted to as a full-time student, but by far the majority of our students are working professionals. So let's talk a little bit more about you. And can you tell me what actually interests you the most in being a water resources specialist?
Sure, yeah. I want to deeply understand water and how our systems work. Water management and water law is over a century old in California, right? So the state is really a trendsetter for other Western states. I'm fortunate to live here and learn about our water resources. And I hope that as I continue to improve my knowledge around this area, I can try to be part of the change that needs to happen. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. And I think that it can be difficult for us to see our drought unfolding in California and maybe not know enough about what are the right steps, how does it all work, or who is in charge, and what are the main issues. And so that's, I think, what I'm really interested in. Every day I learn something new. I like to think of it as another piece of the puzzle and I'm putting it all together. And the MSL program was the start of gaining that knowledge. And every day at work, I see how problems are solved. And so I develop deeper perspectives. And I look forward to building my career and ultimately focusing my life's work in this area.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear that you're learning practical skills in your courses. So for our audience who's here today, what piece of advice would you have to give to someone who's just starting the program in their first semester, or perhaps prior to the first semester?
Great. Yes. So first, I would like to say that it's okay and normal to feel nervous. This is a big life step and it's totally manageable and it's so fulfilling. A big thing that I learned when I first started was it's super important to do something related to school every day. But with that being said, give yourself 1 day off a week, seriously. Decompress, take the time off. And that one little thing that you do every day might be as small as reading a few pages of your textbook or reviewing the assignments on Canvas to prepare for the following week. Or maybe you watch all your lectures and you take really good notes and you knock that out in a night or 2. Especially if you're working full time and taking 2 classes a semester, it will be necessary to build a strong weekly schedule and to break up tasks into small daily goals. Then your weekends can be spent, writing your discussion posts or your essays. Another big piece of advice that I have is to reach out to classmates. And if you're local, meet at the library, post your email or your contact information in the announcements forum. I would also post a weekly library meetup. I would just put it in there and say, hey, I'm going to meet up every Tuesday or whatever. And, whoever would have the time could join. And I would invite people to come. So it can be hard to build connections, right, when you're in an online program. But it's much more enjoyable when you can meet other students. And so I've personally made some really, truly amazing friends in this program, and we meet up and we do assignments and we go out for drinks and we chill, it's just really fun. I've made some friends. Another one I would say is go to the school functions, get on the email lists. There are talks, there are nights out with fellow students and staff, and it's a really fun time. A master's degree is a really excellent opportunity to network and to figure out what career options are available to you and what's out there. And you do that by talking to other people in the same kind of realm as you. And I think you're already on the right start, right? You're joining this webinar. So continue to put yourselves out there, meet folks, ask questions. McGeorge faculty and the whole community are incredibly kind and willing to help. And our professors are some of the greatest minds in their fields. So I have loved attending office hours. I highly recommend going to all those office hours that you can. If they're offered in your class, go to them. Even if you don't have a specific question to ask, just go to say hello. Take that time to have a personal connection with your professors. It's really valuable and it feels good.
And those office hours that you're referring to, they were hosted online, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's Zoom, so it's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy to go in and say hello.
Yeah, and about the study group, I think that's a very good point. Like it is the MSL program is a rigorous program. It's only 26 credits, so a lot of people think it's going to be fairly easy, but law has its own language and and lawyers think and approach life and problem very differently. And that's right. That's the big part of what we're teaching in the foundational classes. And that's why those ones, the foundational classes, you have to take them in the sequence that we are teaching them, so you can be successful in your other elective courses. But last semester,
I would add,
go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say last semester, like we had a group of students like who they were very much all over the US. And so they created a Blackboard. It's another software you can use, you know, for their study group. And they had like weekly study group time. So they all connected at the same time. It was a group. They invited also the professors to come and join and attend some of their study group when they had questions, if they couldn't make the office hours. So there is very much like as much as possible an individual approach from the professor, but like the students, I think very naturally do create those cohorts because our classes are capped at 20. So in our online classes, you're not going to take a class with more than 20 students because we want the faculty to be able to engage one-on-one with the students. And we want the students to be able to engage with each other also. So go ahead, Savanna.
Yeah.
You were gonna.
You do really build a sense of community with your classmates, even though you're all in different states sometimes, or you're just, more on the online platform. So every week you have discussion posts for the most part. Sometimes you don't, but mostly you do. And so you're all writing and you're all communicating together and you're all replying to each other. And I definitely noticed, so the first, in the beginning of the program, there was a lot more of consistency and frequency of our discussion posts. This time, my semester currently, we are a little bit less on the discussion posts. I think it's just, how it ended up being right now. And something I noticed though, is that I don't feel as close to my current classmates at this moment because we haven't been doing as many discussion posts. It's been more, writing assignments that we submit just individually. So yeah, you really do develop a relationship with the people you're going to class with, even though it is online. And then you could definitely set up Zooms. I've done that a few times with folks who aren't in the area. But yeah, if you are a local Sacramento person, go to the library. It's such a beautiful space. And it's just so much fun to go sit with classmates and to talk and to meet folks. Yeah.
Thank you. So you've talked already about this, but perhaps you can expand a little bit more about how is the MSL program really helping your career?
Honestly, I would say it has made my career. I knew that this program was going to elevate me to the next level. That is why I did it. I got my dream job as a current student. So don't be afraid to apply and to try something that, might seem out of reach. Your education is something that can never be taken from you. And if you are passionate and want to go further in your understanding of law, environment, water, government, then I really don't, you don't have nothing to lose in completing this program. It's a stepping stone for further career growth. The material is relevant. There is access to current affairs and opportunities to attend conferences and meet folks out there. That's all there for you. So you just have to utilize it and put yourself out there to make the most of the program. And I would say that employers want you because you have this degree. That's my experience so far.
Thank you. I'm so glad to hear that. So I really like that when you said the MSL made your career. But so let's talk a little bit about prior to the MSL program, your undergraduate degree, and what originally interested you in the water resources field or the water and environmental law field.
Yeah, I think I owe my twin sister actually the credit of getting me into the environmental field. We both attended Davis for our undergrad, and she took a wildlife biology class and told me to join it with her. And then I literally never looked back. I changed my major. I switched completely into the environmental side. So I started in more of the conservation biology field. And after college, I went to Madagascar and I studied lemurs and the impacts of climate change on a country that is a biodiversity hotspot. And whenever I've traveled and left the country or the state, it gives me a deeper perspective. and a love for my home state of California. And California really is so special. And I'm grateful to live here and to work here. And California suffers from drought. And so I feel this importance to be in my home state and to do what I can to learn about water and our systems, and how we can help save such a vital resource. Water is life, and we should all develop a deeper respect and appreciation for it. And the more that I get to know myself and to ask myself questions about, what I want to do in my life and what I value, it becomes more and more clear to me that I need to focus on water and advocate for the environment.
Thank you. So we get a question from our attendees. Can you give us an example of one of your MSL projects you have completed and felt it was applicable to your current job?
Sure. I will talk about actually one that I have to submit still, but it will be the end of this semester. And it directly, I guess I made it this way. So we had to do a water supply analysis for the water law class that I'm in right now. And I currently work under a water master, which are federally appointed by the court. And so they control adjudicated basins, groundwater basins in the state. So he is technically like in charge of a basin down in Southern California. And so me starting this new job, I thought it'd be a really cool opportunity for me to like do my research project on the adjudicated basin that he's the water master for. So I essentially got to kind of like get paid to do school, which was fun. I did a lot of research, asked, my supervisor a lot of questions. And so that has been a project that has been really awesome because it's just, it allowed me to focus my learning, and it's allowed me to just gain so much more knowledge on like what my work is going to be in my career as well. Because if you just maybe read, reports and things, it might not have like, it might just, go in and out. But I could like take what I was reading and focus it on the questions that were based on this, assignment that I had to write. And yeah, it's just, I feel like it stuck with me more. It's been really helpful. So yeah, that has been a really fun. It's been a fun couple months for me because this whole class, seriously, this whole water law class that I've been in has directly aligned with the work that I'm doing. So yeah, if you get fortunate enough to maybe have your career or your job relate to your schooling, it's just really special. One of the summer session classes that comes to mind, it was a leadership class. And that felt like a really cool time to be in that class. I felt just like everything in my life was connecting with the subjects of leadership. And I was reflecting on the people that, I thought were leaders in my community or in my own personal life. And so yeah, I got to just tie a lot of different things to like my personal life and to my friends and family. And that gave me a lot of appreciation for the leaders in my world. So those are two that come to mind.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So we have 2 other questions. So what are weekly typical assignment schedules?
Sure. It could change. I think in the beginning, you'll have, as Clemens had said, you'll have like a Sunday deadline. Typically, that's the beginning. So you may have something due on a Thursday. So like your discussion posts, for instance. So the course is split up between discussion assignments, which are weekly, and then you have replies to those discussions because we're creating an active, communicative, environment with everybody. So you have to reply. It's part of your grade to reply and to, prompt people in the discussion posts. Those are always due on a Sunday. So say your discussion post needs to be complete. It's typically like a Thursday or Friday. Sometimes it might have been a Wednesday, I think, that we had to have things submitted. And then you have until Sunday to submit your replies. And then you'll have an essay or a different type of assignment. Those are also going to be due on Sunday. So you may have like a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for discussion, everything else due on a Sunday. So
and that, it's pretty much the same in most of the courses to create that engaging environment. Like we do ask when there is a discussion post, we do ask students to engage with one another. As Savanna mentioned, in some of the electives, there is not as much discussions. There are some, but perhaps not as much because Because at that point, we give an opportunity for the students to choose a project that really applies, to them and to the work that they're doing or to the work that they would like to do. So there's a little bit more flexibility on that front. So the next question is, how many writing assignments do you have weekly?
It can depend. So your discussion, you could have probably at most of like 2 discussion posts a week, sometimes maybe 3. Those can range from, maybe you only write a paragraph for one of your discussions. Maybe you don't have to go much more than that, but mostly like we're all probably writing anywhere, because it's like it's the virtual form that you're doing your discussion post on. You're not like writing a Word document and posting it on there. So honestly, like I wouldn't want somebody to post like a page or like 2 pages worth of a discussion post, because that's just too much to maybe take it in when you're trying to read everybody's posts and then you're also trying to reply. So you want to keep it within like 4 or so paragraphs, which is, I think, enough time for these posts, like the purpose of the discussion post, to give a really well thought out and thorough response, but then also like understand the fact that like everybody's going to be reading these and we're going to have a lot of group discussion with it. So sometimes if you write like ton, I just think it's a little bit harder to invite conversation around it. So your discussion, granted, like your discussion posts do take a lot of time. Like you have to get your reading done, and it is a weekly assignment. You have 2, sometimes 3 discussion posts a week. So yeah, it is a lot. It gets you in a really good rhythm though, I would say. That's why I recommended, do something little every day. You have to figure out a schedule, because all of a sudden it'll be a Wednesday and your discussion post due. You're like, oh, make sure you got all your reading done, right? Make sure you watch your lectures. And then, yeah, you have more time to reply it by Sunday. So I think like that allows you to also have the full week. You may have your discussion post due, but then you can like finish your lectures or read the rest of your text, and then you read everybody's replies or responses, and then you can reply really thoughtfully. So technically you really do have a full week to get a nice, understanding and close that week off. You have a good flow about it, I would say.
Yeah, and I think so those discussion posts that we're referring to it's the equivalent of the engagement in class. Like, so in law school, we use the Socratic methods where we ask students to read a substantial amount of law, case law or law in general, or opinions or theory prior to coming to class. And then we have a discussion, right? That's what it is. So those discussion posts is the equivalent of that on the online platform. Then there are sometimes some writing assignments, like for example, in one of the foundational classes you're going to take, Introduction to Legal Analysis, you're going to have to write memos. But those are breaking. So you're going to have assignment, like it's not going to be on a weekly basis, like you don't write a new memo.
Staggered, I would say, right?
And it builds on from week to week. So,
and so, right, maybe one week you're going to have 2 or 3 discussion posts and an essay due at the end of the week. And that, hey, that is a pretty heavy week. Like, be prepared to put the work in, but then you might have a week where you don't have an essay to do and you only have a discussion post, and that's pretty light. Or you just have a quiz. So there are also quizzes that are incorporated into the program as well. And so, yeah, maybe one week, a heavy hitter week, I would say would be discussion, essay, quiz. You're going to have a pretty full week ahead of you, but again, it's super manageable. When you do something every day, you will get through the week.
Yeah. And all of those are announced on the platform. We built all of those different assignments, whether it is a paper that is due or a quiz or a discussion post. All of those are listed at the beginning of the semester. So you can see all of that. You can map out your entire semester. You can see when is going to be like the few weeks that are going to be like maybe like the 3 or 4 weeks that are going to be a little bit more busy. But
so syllabus is posted. You can review your syllabus. You can see everything. And with that being said, like, again, everybody, this is for working professionals, right? We're all adults here. We're all managing our lives, your families, all, there's so much going on. As long as you are aware of what's happening and like, hey, this coming week, like, it's going to be hard. I also have this other thing going on. You can reach out to your professors and just tell them what your situation is. And like, I had done that once. I think I had like a vacation, I think planned. And I had to say, hey, I'm going to be in Mexico. I would love to not have anything to do this week. And I'm going to submit it all the following week. And it was totally fine. So yeah, that was definitely a hard week after, because I had 2 weeks to do in one, but it worked out that I could just take that pause for myself and enjoy my vacation and come back the following week. And it was, it's there's flexibility. You can manage it.
Thank you. So I see the last part of that question is like, is there a class project per academic course? We don't do class project. There is, I mean, like, I don't know if the question is like, is there a group project or is it a project per class, like a final exam?
There's a final project, but yeah, I don't think I've had any group projects. So it doesn't, but yeah, so you do have your final assignment, right? But the cool thing about this is, it is an online class. So your final assignments are always essays. It's not like you're going in and taking a test. You have time, you have a week or more, depending on you get all your other stuff done, to really focus on your essays that you're going to submit at the end of the semester. And so it's a really great opportunity to take everything you've learned and to write a really solid piece of work that is representative of what you know and the concepts. And you get that time to really sit and read your text. And I really enjoyed this learning style. I like to have my finals be an essay that I can submit at the end of the time, and I can put a lot of good hours into it. And I love writing. It's what I do for school and work. And so yeah, I really love the final assignments that we have. And I think that it's a great way to end the semester.
Thank you. So how do you feel like the MSL has distinguished you from other professionals in your field?
That's a good question. I think it shows any type of maybe master's degree can show like, it's a, how would I like to say this? It's like, it's a bonus education, right? Like, sure, you can probably get a job right out of your undergrad, but going into a master's allows you to gain just a whole other step up. You're focused on something. That's why it's super important to figure out what you want to focus on. And the MSL has lots of different options. And law, I think, is a really great second step. It's a really good pairing to what you have learned in your undergrad. My undergrad was in environmental science and policy. So to have law with that, I just think it was a great natural progression up. And so I think there's just so much room for career growth when you do this program. And again, like, I think I know I got this job because I'm in the MSL program, because that was what they were looking for. Consulting in maybe any type of industry in the consulting world, I think a master's degree can benefit. It's relevant. It shows that you're putting yourself through another rigorous program to gain like current knowledge. And it, again, right, what does our education teach us, or what does that show to other people? It shows that you have discipline. It shows that you can manage your time. It shows all these other kind of characteristics that are super valuable in the work world. And for me, I think the benefit, again, like, I applied for my job as a current student. So technically, like, I am teaching myself on the side for super relevant and real-time knowledge that, like, my employers don't have to teach me, really, right? So it's a benefit to them. It's a benefit that you're providing yourself with education. And it's really helped me.
And I would add that in so many fields, like the law is omnipresent. So in addition of the theory, they're also learning like how to comply with it. It's like, so compliance, like, so having someone who can read, understand regulations, comply with them. I think it's that, at least that we're hearing this all the time from MSL graduates, not just in the water and environmental law field. Right. We also have our other online program, which is in government law and policy, and there's a lot of overlap between those two fields. So we hear it all the time, like the ability to market themselves as able to understand and read the law and to enforce compliance is huge. Exactly.
And especially, if you are in the Sacramento area and if you want to work in here, if you want to work at the Capitol, right, in state government, this program is well known. And I think, people it's very beneficial because it is known and it is in the community. So I think like, as opposed to like another master's in a, a different state or whatever, that was why I chose McGeorge, because it was local and I want to be in this area. So yeah, I think that's another added benefit as well.
I would say that McGeorge Law School, like the water and environmental law program at the JD level, is has a nationwide reputation. So we're known amongst water and environmental law lawyers, in the US, as well as people who work in and around. Like we often host conferences online and in person. So, and our professors are very involved in this. So I think, Amber, that hopefully that answers your question about the undergraduate degree. Her question was, what did you get your undergraduate degree in, and why did you choose to pursue the law aspect rather than continuing your education in your undergraduate degree? So I think you answered that.
Yeah.
I think we have also answered the question about the length in pages, right? For a typical essay. I mean, they vary. Sometimes they're being built from one week to another. So it depends a little bit.
Your weekly essays can be anywhere from, a couple pages, 5 pages or so, right? Your weekly stuff for the essays. Your final assignments are going to be a little bit more, substantial, 10 to 20 pages for your final. But again, you get about a week, maybe a week and a half to work on those. So I would say that, it's pretty normal in the realm of a final assignment.
Thank you. And so last question, what electives have you chosen to engage in?
Well, I guess your summer sessions classes are kind of more elective, I would say. So the leadership course, one that I took, and now that I'm only at one class a semester, I am currently only taking the core classes for me. And so I haven't actually done the elective classes yet. So I kind of am going to wait for those at the end. So for me, having to, deciding because of this new job, taking the one class a semester, it does push me one more year, right? But that's okay. I'm really happy with my job and what I'm learning, and it all is pairing so nicely together. So yeah, right now I'm just in the water resource law, and the next semester is going to be environmental law. So maybe those are electives to me because they're fun and exciting, and those are my core classes. But yeah, I guess I haven't the real electives will be next year, I guess, for me.
Next year, yeah. And you'll have the options to take to continue taking more water and environmental law related electives, or you can also take electives from the government law and policy. As you mentioned, advocating is also a part of your job. It's often the case so that you don't often have someone who just do advocacy. If you do that, you need to also understand the particular field that you're advocating on. And so we often have water and environmental law specialists taking some of our government law and policy courses. We have a lobbying class, we have a government law and policy making class that are
some of my friends are in the government and the lobbying one right now. So yeah, those are great. I've heard really good things about them. My electives are definitely going to be water related. That.
Yeah. So, we're running a little bit out of the 30 minutes that we promised you, but let me just show you everyone if I can manage to share my screen here. I'm going to show you here's a curriculum for the water and environmental law course. So you can see all of those are required courses. The leadership in organization and public speaking are required, but they're a little bit more electives in the sense that you can choose to take them in the first summer, the second summer. You actually don't have to take them in a sequence. And then those are all of the electives. The directed research is our terminology for a capstone. And this is when we pair you with a faculty and you work one-on-one on a particular project. Obviously, you can elevate that to a full thesis. It is demanding. It takes a thesis would take the entire semester. So But anyway, so this is an overview. We are also going to launch a concentration in business law in fall of 2023. And so our water and environmental law students will also have the option to take some business law electives if they wanted to. So I think with this, this marked the end of our program. Thank you all for your time. I just want to give one more chance for folks to ask a questions if they want. In the meantime, I'm gonna put my name and my email address in the chat. Feel free to email me directly if you have any questions. We are taking application, and we're right now enrolling for our January start. So you still have a little bit of time to apply. The application is pretty straightforward. We don't teach for the bar exam because you cannot take a bar exam. So there is no LSAT test to take, no GRE either. So the application is online, and I'll be happy to work with you to go over it, to answer your questions about the application process. Okay, so one last question. Will you be offering SGMA groundwater regulation changes in the future? I do not know. I'm assuming this is covered in the water resources law course.
Yeah, we do cover SGMA. We do cover groundwater, yes. And in my work aside is I do focus a lot on groundwater. So
I think it's a few modules, right? If I'm not, yeah. So I don't think
you really learn a lot about groundwater, and it's a foundational knowledge, and yeah, SGMA is very much a part of that. It was past 2014, so there is that is definitely like a foundation. But I think in terms of groundwater, it is evolving. In fact, like policies are just now starting to really be crafted, and I think the issues are only going to get a little bit more complex and more necessary to work on as time goes on. I think, yeah, aside from that, you definitely learn about it.
So you learn about it. I don't think we're not at the point where this would be covered in its own three-unit course, sorry. But it's definitely covered in our materials, as is it's a big part of water resources law.
Very much so.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much, Savanna, for being our guest speaker. Thank you all to those of you who attended this webinar, and I look forward to connecting with you one-on-one, and have a wonderful afternoon.
Yes, thank you all. Have a great rest of your day.